The theme of the summit is Dream, Discover, Disrupt. Entrepreneurship Summit 2014 has received UN patronage, which is UNESCO's highest form of support, demonstrating their moral endorsement of an exceptional activity. We are honored to have for this inaugural ceremony Mr. Alexander Blas, CEO, Innovation Institute of America, and Mr. Bharat Desai, Chairman and co-founder Sintel. Also gracing the occasion, we have Professor Devang Thakkar, Director IIT Bombay, Professor U.A. Yajnik, Dean Student Affairs, Professor Ravi Sinha, Dean Alumni and Corporate Relations, and Professor Anand Kusre, Professor in charge ECEL. I would kindly request them to be seated on the dais. I would now like to invite on stage Professor Devang Thakkar, Director IIT Bombay, to give the welcome address.
Good morning. Very warm welcome to IIT Bombay. I know many of you in this audience are budding entrepreneurs. We have many distinguished guests on the dais, in the audience, faculty of IIT, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to IIT Bombay and welcome to the Entrepreneurship Summit 2014. Since its inception, this institute, IIT Bombay, has fostered an atmosphere of innovation and entrepreneurship. And many alumni of this institute have become very successful entrepreneurs and have created innovative companies both in India and all over the world. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Bharat Desai, is an outstanding example with his company Sintel. In 2001, IIT Bombay formally adopted a new vision, which was to be the fountainhead of new ideas and innovators in technology and science. So with this vision, with innovation right up front, we have taken a strong program for encouragement of entrepreneurship. We are in the process of creating a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem on the campus and have started systematic and sustained efforts for encouraging entrepreneurship for now more than a decade. Some of the things that are going on in the campus include SIGN, which is the Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, which has emerged as the premier incubator in the country in the technology space. We have several innovation and entrepreneurship academic programs in our School of Management being offered to students, both undergraduate as well as postgraduate. We have an industrial design center in which there are several exposure courses on creativity and new product development. And of course, right across the institute, we are encouraging the development of new products and processes. Today, I'm very happy to announce a new initiative. IIT Bombay is setting up the Desai Sethi Entrepreneurship Center to further promote entrepreneurship among students. This center has been set up with a generous endowment from our alumnus, Bharat Desai, who's in front of you. He has donated $1 million to essentially start this center and its activities. And we are very enthusiastic to get this center going to further promote entrepreneurship activity in the institute. All the activities over the years have resulted in a lot of interest among students in entrepreneurship. And one of the things that the students have done is to form a club called the Entrepreneurship Cell, and this cell started in 1998. The E-Cell, the Entrepreneurship Cell we refer to as the E-Cell of IIT Bombay, is spreading the spirit of entrepreneurship among students across all disciplines. The E-Cell provides exposure to various aspects of entrepreneurship at an early age, which has helped many students realize their potential not only as professionals but also as individuals. Through its activities, E-Cell has brought a new era of entrepreneurship on the campus with an increasing number of startup companies by students and alumni of the institute. These efforts have led to more than 40 successful startups. Of course, key to the success of all these innovation and entrepreneurship efforts are the academic and research programs at IIT Bombay. If I have to describe them, I would say the two words that best describe the programs are cutting edge and flexible. The undergraduate program over the last 5 years has been radically changed to give a great deal of flexibility to students to take a wide variety of electives, to take a minor in some other discipline, and essentially to design their own program based on their interest. I think this has generated a lot of student interest in different areas. In addition, the institute has a strong focus on research. We have about 9,000 students on the campus. Of these 9,000, more than half are postgraduate students who are engaged in research. So more than 4,500 students are engaged in R&D in the institute, and we have around 575 faculty members also participating in research. Our research funding from external agencies last year was 300 crores, and through this type of research funding, cutting-edge facilities comparable to the best in the world are being set up in the institute. So with this kind of background, the kind of training both postgraduate students and undergraduate students receive is of a high order, and this talent is what underpins a lot of the innovation, particularly technology innovation, that is taking place. I am very happy to inform you that IIT Bombay is now acting as a nucleus for an entrepreneurial ecosystem, and some of you may have recently read on the front pages of Times of India that IIT Bombay is essentially now situated in Powai Valley in analogy to Silicon Valley, because it is attracting so many startups in its neighborhood. It is attracting them because of the availability of talent as well as the facilities within the institute. So let me, on this occasion, say a few more words about the E-Cell. The E-Cell at IIT Bombay has been recognized as the leading entrepreneurship promoting student organization in the country by the National Entrepreneurship Network. Eureka, which is the business plan competition organized by E-Cell, has been acclaimed as Asia's largest business plan competition by Thomson Reuters. E-Cell has also been felicitated by TIE, the Global Indian Network of Indian Entrepreneurs, and of course this time the E-Summit 2014 has received the prestigious patronage from UNESCO. As I mentioned, E-Cell conducts a wide range of activities throughout the year. and more than 1,000 students get immersive experience in entrepreneurship through various events, workshops, competitions, networks, and speaker sessions. The ECEL has succeeded in creating a platform of entrepreneurship enthusiasts where students, faculty members, and professionals can interact on a regular basis for discussions, brainstorming sessions, informal interactions, and networking. The aim has been to enhance the learning experience of students and providing entrepreneurship by providing an action-oriented roadmap for launching a startup. So really, a lot of the programs give a hands-on kind of experience to students on how one can start a company. And some of these include the Startup Bootcamp. Then, of course, in this e-summit, we will have something called the Startup Expo, the Lean Startup Machine. There will be several panel discussions. There are networking lounges, the business simulation game, and several workshops. Of course, all of you must be looking forward to the Eureka Finals, in which this year we have received over 5,000 entries from India and abroad, and the top 25 entries will pitch their business plan in front of angel investors and venture capitalists at the event this time. The winners will get prizes in excess of rupees 4.5 million, and of course, they will receive a paid trip to e-bootcamp organized by Stanford University. I would like to close by mentioning that ECEL is playing a big role in spreading entrepreneurship beyond the boundaries of the IIT campus. And it is doing so in a large number of campuses throughout the country. The National Entrepreneurship Challenge is the first of its kind pan-India competition undertaken by ECEL. Through NEC last year, we engaged with 250 colleges from all over the country and helped in founding about 80 entrepreneurship cells in colleges throughout the country. The hope is that e-summit, which happens every year, is not just an event, but a movement which spreads the spirit of entrepreneurship in India. With more than a dozen events, 50 speakers and panel members, over 2,000 attendees, it is my pleasure today to declare the Entrepreneurship 2014 event open. I trust that you will have a fruitful experience and recall the next 2 days with fond memories. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for the overview of entrepreneurship activities in the Institute. The Entrepreneurship Cell, IIT Bombay, is committed to the task of promoting entrepreneurship in and outside the Institute, and the annual report is a testimonial of our success. I would request the Director to release the annual report for the year 2013-14. And I would request Mr. Blas, Mr. Desai, Professor Yajnik, Professor Sinha, and Professor Kusre to join him for the same. Today, we are very pleased to welcome Mr. Alexander Blas as our keynote speaker. Alexander is an internationally acclaimed, award-winning American innovator. He presently serves as CEO of the Innovation Institute of America, based in Baltimore, just outside Washington, D.C. Alexander is the grand prize winner of the Daily Record's Top Innovator of the Year, which in 2007 credited him with revolutionizing charitable giving for inventing person-to-person crowd fundraising technology on the internet. He is also the recipient of the Baltimore Business Journal's Top 40 Under 40 Executives Award and the Daily Record's Influential Marylanders Award, and was honored as Entrepreneur in Residence at the Wharton School of Business. Earlier in his career, Alexander was a venture capitalist, a management consultant, and a software developer, beginning his career at KPMG Consulting in Washington, D.C. He has traveled to over 50 countries and appeared in numerous media outlets globally, including the Wall Street Journal, Associated Press, Fox TV, International Herald Tribune, The Independent, Dubai Eye, and many more. Alexander keynotes some of the world's most prestigious conferences on innovation, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Examples include IBM Innovate in India, the World Management Forum, the Abu Dhabi Innovation Forum, the MasterCard Global Convention, Evolve Mexico, the European Conference on Creativity and Innovation, the Stars of Business Awards in Dubai, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia Entrepreneurship Summit, EPIC in New York, HR Summit in Singapore, InnoConf in Malaysia, and the Business Leadership Forum in South America. Alexander received an MBA from Oxford University in England and studied at the Wharton School of Business. He also received a Master of Science degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Pennsylvania. Today, Alexander will be discussing the importance of innovation and change in all our lives and how you can reinvent yourself on a more innovative path. He will reveal key characteristics and principles of successful innovators and organizations and teach innovation and creativity methods and strategies to develop new products and services. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Alexander Blas. I would like to invite Professor Khakkar, Director, IIT Bombay, to felicitate Mr. Blas.
Wow, thank you. Dhanyawad, thank you so much. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will treasure this. Thank you so much. Dhanyawad, it's such a great honor to be here. Thank you again.
The alumni of IIT Bombay have scaled great heights in every possible domain of life. We are honored today to have amongst us one such alumnus, Mr. Bharat Desai, who single-handedly changed the face of the IT industry. He is the chairman and co-founder of Syntel, world's leading provider of IT and KPO solutions. With global development centers in India and the US, Syntel has grown to over 20,000 employees and an annual revenue of over $720 million. We would like to play a short video about Mr. Desai.
Born in Kenya, alumnus of IIT Bombay and the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. Recipient of numerous awards from Harvard Business School, USA Today, NASDAQ. Popularly known in the business community as the Billionaire Yogi. He is Bharat Desai, Executive Chairman and co-founder of Syntel.
I started practicing it, and as I started seeing the benefits, I really made that a regular part of my routine. I find not only is it great for physical fitness, it's also tremendous for mental agility and for being able to help you stay alert. I remember growing up in East Africa, I started playing cricket when I was 5, 6 years old. When I was 10, I actually arranged a match between my school and a European school. And remember, we lived in a segregated society then, so it was unheard of. And I follow the game every chance I get.
Bharat founded Syntel with his wife Nirja Sethi with a $2,000 investment in 1980 from their home in Troy, Michigan.
We feel very fortunate to be serving some great brands around the world, and our modest beginnings have led to some great developments over the years.
Over the years, Syntel has evolved into a force to be reckoned with in the global information technology and knowledge process industry. Syntel employs over 22,000 people with 2012 revenues of $724 million and a market cap of more than $3.5 billion. Bharat has been the motivating force behind Esprias, Syntel's volunteer-driven corporate social responsibility program dedicated to educating underprivileged children in its communities. He is a visionary, an entrepreneur, and an inspiration.
Thank you very much. You know, this hall is very nostalgic to me from back in my student days. And there are two very distinct memories I have etched in my mind about my experiences in this hall. One was joy, laughter, and happy faces. And that was typically when we were watching a performance or watching a movie on weekends. The other was panic, stress, and blank stares. That happened in my first and second year when we took our final exams in this hall. You know, entrepreneurs think differently. They're not afraid to challenge conventional wisdom. Whether it's Christopher Columbus, who set out west to find India and create an economic advantage for his country, or Steve Jobs, who was looking to find a more effective way of making films, or a totally integrated voice, data, video, personal computing experience. Each of them started with a leap of faith. A leap of faith is critical in an entrepreneur's journey. It so happens, one of the reasons we remember these two guys as entrepreneurs is they also changed the world. An entrepreneur is conditioned and very adept at tackling uncertainty. They're not afraid to tackle unknown problems and find solutions. I personally was very lucky to get my training very early in my childhood. At the age of 11, my family moved from Kenya to India. And I had to very rapidly adapt to conditions that were very different. And I broke the mold in trying to adapt and finding every way to excel. Joining the IIT was tremendously helpful because I think at the IIT, we were encouraged to explore areas beyond our comfort zones and grow. As a teenager, I hitchhiked from India to the Far East. And that, for me, was a life-changing experience in terms of learning to deal with the unknown. So how does an entrepreneur get started? You can look for an underserved need, which would be perhaps growing a market at with low-cost products, or a subliminal human need, which could be serving very high-end markets with luxury goods. Whichever you choose, you should be very clear about the value your product gives to your customer. And throughout the life cycle of your company, you have to constantly monitor the behavior and the interaction with your customer and constantly innovate to stay ahead of their expectation. Throw in healthy doses of passion, resilience, and constant follow-through. Most important, self-belief. You will be challenged plenty of times by people who will be naysayers. Remember, your job is to actually swim against the tide as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. And just like poker, it is an all-in bet on yourself. Just a quick sharing of my journey with Syntel. Over the years, Syntel has continued to evolve as an enterprise. We've expanded across geographies, across different industries that we serve, the value different kinds of services and products that we provide our customers. And through that time period, we've also evolved in terms of the value addition we provide to our customers, from just technology skills to technology solutions to business outcomes, and now what our customers expect is business agility. And what's interesting is our market value as a company has directly correlated to the value we've delivered to our customers. One attribute that's very important for entrepreneurs is to have a very firm vision of the future and bet on it big. In 1992, I remember when we were a staffing company providing technical resources, I had the hunch that the future was going to be in offshore outsourcing or global outsourcing or globalization. And we invested $500,000 at that time on a 9.6K line. That represented over 100% of the profits our business made that year. We, through a very innovative technical solution, were able to connect 30 workstations to that line of 9.6K, and to make the business model economically viable, we ran 3 shifts. In 1992, 12 years after we founded the company, we were willing to kill our bread and butter business and invest everything in what we believed our future was. You have to trust your gut. In the late 90s, it became clear that our global outsourcing model was working, and that we would now have to scale significantly to serve the needs of our customer as the market evolved. At that time, our entire support staff was in the US. And I said, with the growth we're going to have here, our leadership really needs to be right next to our people. Of course, it was economically more sensible, but it was a critical leadership decision for us to relocate and, in some cases, build from scratch an entire leadership team that supported our employees who worked in India. This gave us tremendous competence and confidence when we helped our customers on the same journey. it's important to have good advice. And my recommendation to you is don't go for experts or brand names to be advisors or board members for your company. Select people who you trust, who will give you honest advice and whose advice will be unbiased. They will serve you much better in the long run. A common disease that entrepreneurial organizations run into is called the founder's trap. The entrepreneur starts the company, it becomes successful, continues to grow, he's very involved in the company, and is at the focal point of making all key decisions. The organization scales to a point, and it can't scale further because the company is too dependent on the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur cannot extricate himself from the company without having it come all down. That's called the founder's trap. Fortunately, I was very aware of that and worked closely with my board and a great coach to systematically find ways to transition and have a very organized succession plan in our company. That allowed us to attract great talent. It enabled us to grow and scale very nicely. And since then, we've actually institutionalized the entire succession process. Every single employee at Syntel goes through a performance appraisal on performance and potential, and the results of that are reviewed by the leadership team over 2 days, which will actually happen next week. Plus, the board spends an hour at every board meeting reviewing succession. So we take succession very seriously. That has allowed us to move from an entrepreneurially led company to what is now a growing institution. Continuously think about what your edge is and what you stand for your customers and for your employees. For us, that's been very clear from day one. We want customers for life, and we want to do right by our customers. We also want a very innovation-driven culture. And this combines really well because our employees love the fact that they can innovate and create, and our customers love the fact that we have these employees with great ideas, great skills, who are always thinking about how we can further improve on their business. A number of our customers have actually given us awards, including Chairman's Awards, just for the innovative ideas we've brought. We had the rare honor this last year of being featured in a cover article at Harvard with Harvard Business Review. This study, thank you. This study was done by 2 professors. They studied over 25,000 companies over 45 years that were publicly listed US companies. They selected 344 out of that had sustained superior performance across several years. And every Synteller is proud of the fact that Syntel was one of those 344 companies. Thank you. As you grow and evolve, make sure you keep other interests in life. For me, those have been, over the years, bridge, which I played a lot when I was here and played in many tournaments. Cricket, that I've been passionate about since I was a kid. What I love about cricket is you have to have strategic thinking, disciplined execution, and you have to be very fit to play the game. And then over the last few years, I've got very passionate about yoga. This is a discipline and a science that evolved over 5,000 years ago by these guys just playing around in the mountains in the Himalayas. I find it to be just a tremendous, tremendous discipline, and it helps you build strength, flexibility, and balance for your body, for your mind, and for your spirit. Those of you who don't or haven't practiced it, I would certainly encourage you to try it. But whatever it is, as an entrepreneur, as an executive, make sure you keep other interests. Over the next decade, almost 1 billion people will enter the workforce. 90% of those people will be in Asia or Africa. We must find ways to create gainful employment and economic empowerment for these people. I believe all of you sitting here today actually have a real edge, especially over the people in developed economies. You know through real life experience how to stretch resources to the maximum. You've had to exercise creativity and innovation in lots of what you do in your everyday lives. I think this is a real opportunity for you guys to tackle opportunities in both the developed, but particularly in the developing economies, because over the next 20 years, the center of gravity of GDP of the world is going to shift to developing economies. We're really at an unbelievable point in time. You know, the world is totally interconnected. There are 7 billion people in the world. What do they want? Happiness for their families and opportunities for their children. Through entrepreneurship and technology and innovation, we can actually deliver this. This is your moment, guys. I would like you to seize this moment. Thank you very much.
Kiva. Kiva, a not-for-profit organization which connects lenders to entrepreneurs at a human level. Kiva's innovative technology platform enables people to lend money to individual projects across the world.
And it makes you feel like you know these people. I mean, you see their picture, you know the facts of their business, you know what their lives are like.
Kiva leverages strategic partnerships with over 184 microfinance institutions across 67 countries, who act as field partners to execute the transactions. Kiva's 1 million borrowers have a repayment rate of better than 99% on a total of $400 million raised from 900,000 lenders. The most popular financial institution in Kenya and Tanzania is M-Pesa, a mobile phone-based money transfer and microfinancing service run by mobile network operators. M-Pesa enables users with a national ID card or passport to easily deposit, withdraw, and transfer money with a low-cost mobile device. The simplicity of this innovation, coupled with a wide retail partner network, enables M-Pesa to touch the lives of over half the adult population in these countries, moving from 2 bank branches per 100,000 people to 37,000 M-Pesa agents serving 15 million people. Imagine having 24/7 access to 3,800 classroom lectures on every school topic from arithmetic to physics, finance, and history, all for free. With 600,000 subscribers and over 2.3 billion views, Khan Academy is defining the future of education. Using easily accessible technology, Khan Academy has overcome the three fundamental barriers to universal education: access, quality, and affordability. Healthcare is a basic human necessity. Two India-based organizations are using technology to overcome geographic barriers to bring quality medical care to remote villages in India through telemedicine. Apollo Telemedicine Networking Foundation, the largest telemedicine network in India, was set up in 1999 with the world's first VSAT-powered rural telemedicine center. Today, Apollo is bridging the urban-rural healthcare divide with over 125 centers performing over 71,000 teleconsultations across 25 disciplines. Another innovative entrepreneur, eHealthPoint, has conducted over 33,000 teleconsultations and 19,500 diagnostic investigations using telemedicine at fees as low as $1. Their entrepreneurial energy, combined with technology innovation, brings a ray of hope to millions of people living in rural India. Using technology innovation, entrepreneurs can challenge conventional wisdom to create breakthrough models that drive socio-economic development across the world.
Thank you so much, Mr. Desai, for your message. I would request Professor Khakkar to felicitate Mr. Desai.
I don't know if you have one of these already. I don't, no.
We give these out.
When I was here, I didn't deserve this, so. Thank you.
Photographs of the campus.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
I request the audience to hand over their questions for the question and answer session to our volunteers. The Desai Seth Entrepreneurship Center is an important milestone in the history of IIT Bombay. To enlighten us all about it, I would like to invite on stage Professor Anand Khusre, Professor in charge, the Entrepreneurship Cell, IIT Bombay.
Thank you. I am happy to share with you what we have now in future for our students and our stakeholders. As Professor Khakkar mentioned, the mission that we have set up for ourselves is in the area of innovation, technology contribution, and how we can contribute through use of that. So basically, on our mission for last several years, we have been doing lots of things. Yeah. So basically, we have got all our departments. We are engaged in research, academics, and consultancy services. But we also have got many centers which are created in the last 10 years. And they are in wide areas of research, from energy, innovation, communications. And these centers have been created to develop new technologies, to explore and how they can contribute. We also have created various areas in research. Yeah.
The gates will open at 12:30. Please be seated for the question and answer session. Please be seated now. The gates will open at 12:30.
So we have been doing research, innovation, and going further beyond that, the incubation of new ideas into new ventures through our incubators. Okay. Through our incubator, which has been there now for a decade and a half, and new ventures have come out of them in various areas. They have got their own new technologies, their IPs, and they have gone beyond the campus and created these thriving new ventures. For IIT Bombay, entrepreneurship is not something separate from our other activities. It is in fact an expression of our innovation DNA. We see that we have been able to launch this through our technology efforts, linking to the needs and demands of the society. I just want to give one example, hundreds of examples of this, but just to give one model how it is working. We have set up recently the Center for Research in Nanotechnology, and it has got faculty from all over the institute, all departments, about 45 faculties who are working on this, and they are working on different areas and therefore bringing different disciplines together. And based on that, we are working in areas like energy, environment, and just one example of a company which has come out of the efforts between the new center. We have got a company called NanoSniff, which has got products and services in very different areas. In security, like explosion management and detection, and healthcare in terms of diagnosis of certain ailments. I'm also happy to mention that some of the students in this venture are also doing PhD at IIT and have come up with this new venture. When you say new venture, we need to have the combination of the opportunity, we need to have the innovation, we need to have the element of something which has not been tried before. We need to raise the resources for this, and therefore it's a long process that a venture has to go through. Therefore, we need to see how the students can really follow this path, which is not a straightforward, easy path. And we have been talking to our students all over the years that what really are the issues, what they want, and what really needs to be done. And we saw that the questions came out in a very different way. The students asked us various things. We had different profiles, different stages of development, different requirements. Some of them had a basic idea that they want to do something, how to go beyond that. Some had tried out already something, some required different advices. And it's a long process to start and go on the venture path. We also went to the other side of the venture, from the entrepreneur and the student side to the stakeholders who need to support the venture on this long path. And there, of course, we had got quite a difficult situation. They wanted something more concrete. They wanted to see efforts were already in. They wanted to see the students were committed. They had the at least basic product or basic resources. And therefore, when we saw both these sides, we thought that we need to go beyond where we are right now and need to create a new platform where they will be able to receive this wide range of support and services. Therefore, it is in this situation that we are now happy to mention and launch this new center, which is the Entrepreneurship Center, with support from this DS Foundation or the SICT IIT Entrepreneurship Center. Thank you. So when we started with this idea just about a few months back, the institute and the director, we said that we need to prepare a blueprint for this, and we created quickly a group of people who would be working on this. And we had our own faculty, we had people from industry, our alumnus who were in the entrepreneurial environment and business. And very fortunately, we also had faculty from USA, Professor Sheth and Professor Gupta. And with that, we quickly tried to create a framework and a blueprint for this. We had very active deliberations and discussions on how to go about it. We discussed various elements. We surveyed a lot of efforts which have gone before in this important area around the world. And based on that, we said that we need to create our own new setup. We set up very simple and specific objectives for this center that was essentially to train and develop entrepreneurs on the campus. And therefore, whatever is required for this, and as we understood from our interactions with the students and stakeholders, establish this setup in terms of facilities, in terms of academics, in terms of programs, and therefore our objective is essentially to ensure these new ventures come about, they foster competitiveness, they nurture success, and they contribute not only at a level at which we are starting, but grow much beyond and contribute to the national prosperity. The support structure that we created with very simple mantra, I think this is a mantra from Mr. Bharat Desai, and that is the content, context, and contact. I think these are the things which brought together can help the venture go through this entire process and go across this path. So we have been able to launch, that's our plan, to launch new programs, that is the new content, the context in terms of how the venture will move, and the contacts, that networking and support from alumnus and other agencies who are involved in entrepreneurship support. So therefore, we plan to launch this new design of this program. We want to be a resource for the students as they go on planning their ventures from idea stage to the complete setup. And for that, three main things that we are going to start. One is the new courses and new programs across entire spectrum of the innovation entrepreneurship domain, which includes creativity, innovation management, lean startup, marketing of a new product or service. And very importantly, we are starting new programs through this center. One of the important programs would be a BTech minor in entrepreneurship, which is going to be an incentive for students who want to pursue this, and as they are studying and completing their course, they would get the benefit of exposure to the entire entrepreneurship realm. We also plan to start different courses. One of the courses we want to start is for people who are engaged in research, like PhD students and other research students, and whether they could get the inputs for entrepreneurship. It could be a certificate program, or we have small modules of courses, and maybe we require to design new patterns, which I think the institute will come forward with. As we mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship is a very immersive course. It's something we have to do with hand to create something tangible from the idea stage, and therefore we are going to come up with very new elements in developing this program and these courses, which will involve exposure of the students not only to the basics through the courses, but also they would be having internships in some of the startups. They would actually prepare their own business plan, and they would actually come up with something of a product or service as they go through this course. One of the major requirements as you move in the entrepreneurship is the requirement of making something tangible. And therefore, we are now planning to set up this new center called the POC, Proof of Concept Prototype Center. Essentially, what happens is that when you start thinking about something, you need to go beyond that. We need to have something which is we have worked with and created, and this can be then shared and tested and validated by the likely people who are going to be potential customer for that. And therefore, we are going to set up these new centers, and they will be installed at various departments or centers, and the students would have opportunity based on their work to actually create something tangible. And during the course that the students will take, one of the important requirements would be that they do come up with a prototype at the end of the course. We are living in a very dynamic situation. So while making ourselves for this preparation, we studied some of the best schools and agencies around the world. and we have come up with different models. We would like to, some of them we will be networking with, but our idea is to create our own unique model for IIT Bombay, taking the inputs from the best and leveraging our strengths and our possibilities. And therefore, we believe that we should be able to create this new concept and new model which will be executed in the current year. It's important that it's a very dynamic discipline. There is continuously new developments and evolutions coming up, and both the students and the faculties are aware of what's happening globally, since today we are in a totally globally connected world. And we hope that we will be open to new ideas. We will modify our course as we go on and put in new inputs in making it even better. Finally, the roadmap we have set up for ourselves. We want to launch this whole initiative in the academic year, which is coming now, 14-15. We are already in the midst of preparing some of the courses which will be ready. We have talked to some of the departments, and they have come up with their list of facilities which would be procured and installed in the proof of concept laboratories. We also have talked to some of the likely faculties who could join, and most importantly, some of our alumnus who have agreed to be part of this new initiative by way of being visiting faculty, by way of being mentors to the students, and by way of also spending time on the campus to encourage and guide the students in this area. Going beyond this, I think as we make progress, we will go into newer areas. We plan to set up accelerators. We need to have outreach with the other agencies. We need to conduct and undertake research in entrepreneurship. And we believe that we will contribute to the policy of India in terms of development of entrepreneurship over the years. Finally, we believe that we have been saying some of these things earlier. This is what we see, that is the emergence of the Powai Entrepreneurship Hub, which is now really becoming a reality in the last few years. And we hope that a thriving ecosystem would be created with the efforts from our students and the small effort right now the center is making, and will continue to enlarge in times to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have a question and answer session, and I would like to invite Professor Ravi Sinha, Dean Alumni and Corporate Relations, to moderate the same.
Congratulations. We're off to a start. Yeah. So we had circulated sheets of paper for questions, and we have received a large number of extant questions. Some of them I have shortlisted here for the question and answer session. So on behalf of the people who have written the question, I will just pose it to the panel to answer. The first question is before I do that, let me tell you that those of you who, or those of you who stayed back are the real winners, because this is the place where the doubts really get sorted out. And the very first question is the most obvious one, that does IIT Bombay support incubation from those who did not study in IIT? Or another question was that what are IIT Bombay's plans to help working professionals who did not make it to IIT? So I think this goes to Professor Kustre and to Professor Khakkar.
Yeah, as I mentioned that we have got various things right now under plans, and the outreach is one of the important. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the outreach is one of our plans, and we would be definitely supporting students beyond or professionals beyond the IIT community that we are right now. But initial efforts would be, of course, with the students that we are having right now. But in the course of time, we will certainly do that. We also plan to have some virtual support systems being created, and that would be an important instrument in achieving it. Thank you.
So currently our incubator does not support entrepreneurs from outside IIT simply because it's too small. But we are in the process of building a new research park, and in that we will certainly have space for entrepreneurs who are not alumni or faculty of IIT. The second point is about professional courses. We do have a continuing education program. We run about 100 courses every year for professionals in various areas, and all this information is on our website. Professionals can also attend any course, particularly any postgraduate course within the institute through the Continuing Education Center.
So this is a question which is often discussed within campus, and I'm sure it's discussed also in many of the campuses around the world, that technical people, technical students particularly, do not have very good communication skills, have very little exposure to sales and marketing. So what is it that they should do in order to have startups that succeed? And to Mr. Desai.
First of all, I sort of challenge the premise. I've seen people who maybe they don't speak good English, but they can communicate very well. So I think being able to communicate really comes from mastering your topic. If you know your subject, you will be able to communicate. However, you can obviously do a better job with being able to improve your language skills, and improving your language skills is a very teachable skill. So there are a number of professional courses that would help you do that.
This is a question which again is more of a dilemma for a lot of people. So, and the question is so well framed that I'll just read it out the way it is here. Hundreds of ideas come to my mind. How do I decide which are the best and which ones should actually be pursued? So what are the benchmarks for deciding this? Again, to Bharat.
Yeah, you have to follow your passion. So you have to pick an area that you really enjoy and you feel passionate about. It has to play to your strengths and to your personality, and an area that you think you're going to get support. And you are going to spend a lot of time as an entrepreneur working on your idea and pursuing your dream. And you have to enjoy what you're doing. So if it meets those criteria, that it plays to your strengths, you really enjoy it, that's how I would decide.
Okay. And a personal question to you, what was the biggest hurdle in your journey?
I actually don't think about hurdles at all. We face hurdles every day. And as an entrepreneur, the most important quality or attribute you can cultivate is a systematic discipline of just overcoming hurdles.
And also directed to you, how important is it to have a formal education in business in some business school before becoming a successful entrepreneur?
Well, my wife doesn't like my answer on this one, but I'll tell it to you anyway. So I think the question here is, how important is it to have a formal education in business? My answer is, you don't even need a formal education to be a great businessman. If you look at some of the top and most successful tech companies, Microsoft, Facebook, Dell, Oracle, these guys dropped out of college. So, and of course, Apple, Steve Jobs. So, and education obviously helps. It helped me a lot. A formal education helps you even more. So, while it helps you, it by no means is an absolute necessity.
So, I just selected a few questions. The last question, I think, is something where again we would like the feedback, views not just of Bharat, but also of others on the dais, because this is something which reaches out to everyone. And this is from somebody who has stated that the financial support or financial status of the family is not very good. The family seeks financial stability out after graduation, while the person who's writing wants to be adventurous and try out his luck or her luck in entrepreneurship. And in this kind of social milieu, how are the various choices to be balanced so that somebody is able to pursue his passion, at the same time not disappoint others in the family?
I will mention, but I think Mr. Desai would be the better man to answer that. But one thing you have to keep in mind, I think you can't balance. If you try to balance, then you can't make a progress. You will have to, I think, pursue something, you will have to give higher weightage to something, and based on that, you will have to make a movement. I think balance is not something you should think about at an early stage. You need to, as Mr. Desai mentioned there, you have to seize it. If you think you are going to do it, you have to. I think you might ask.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. You know, you have to believe in your idea, and you have to reduce your needs to a point where you can subsist on the minimal, and it could be a long journey. If you look at some of the big successes, they actually essentially went through this journey. And again, the most important thing is your commitment to your idea and your perseverance to see it through.
Does anybody else want to take a shot at that?
Would you like to? Yeah, so yeah, I think that this is, I mean, very well said that, you know, starting a business is no guarantee for success, and if someone is really passionate about it, they should be able to first convince their family that this is in fact a great opportunity, and before they can even convince any other customer. I think that it's really boils down to belief in the idea and the sort of strength to commit to it.
Since it does come from our audience, I'll tell you the experience we had at IIT Gandhinagar. The first batch that got out, they basically formed a team of 4 people. And one of them had no resources, one of them had lots of resources, one had technology knowledge, and one had the gift of the gab, okay? So they just got together and started the business. So there is always a way out, I think.
So lack of financial resources or the aspirations of the parents to have a quick financial stability should not be a constraint for those who really aspire to be successful entrepreneurs. There were a few very good questions for Alexander, but because he's going to be around here with the E-Summit the whole day, so I have not put those over here because he would be around for one-to-one interaction with you in the afternoon. So take the chance to also probe him on those questions at a personal level. So again, I would like to thank all of you for posing these great questions, and I hope that the views of the panelists on the question has helped to further enrich the entrepreneurship discussions over here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. This was really an insightful session. I request Professor Yajnik, Dean of Student Affairs, to give the vote of thanks.
So it is my pleasant duty to give the vote of thanks at this function. I would like to tell the audience that this is the third of the major student festivals that occurs every year. We already went through Mood Indigo, which Mr. Bharat Desai will be aware of, and since it's been there since then, and then Tech Fest, which has been growing since the early 90s, and then eCell has made its way, and it's close to being just as large and as colorful as the other two. So just to tell you a little bit, this particular session, the inaugural session of eCell, used to be held in the PC Saxena Auditorium, our LT, and this is the first time we shifted it to Convocation Hall, and the hall was packed, probably because of the panel we had. but certainly also is a sign of the success of the fest. Now, as for the panel, we had two very distinguished speakers, and I think Mr. Alexander Blas has left perhaps, but he taught the audience the axioms, and axiomatic language is what technopreneurs should understand very well. And if he was present, I would have offered him a lot of dhanyavad, because he had done enough homework on India's own traditions to impress various points on the audience. And he came closest to having a quarterback on the stage of the convocation hall with his football gifts. And coming to Bharat, who is our own alumnus and enthusiastic supporter of many of the schemes at IIT Bombay, he disarmed us by first telling us about his convocation hall experiences, which is probably shared by a lot of the students at IIT. There is nothing like a role model, and so his coming to IIT is really very helpful, and sharing his experience, shared the experiences of his journey, and gave good advice on various points. And the occasion also gave us the opportunity to announce the inauguration of the Desai Sethi Innovation Center, which is going to enhance the whole scope and goals of all the activities at IIT Bombay. Thank you. And I would thank the audience for being a very nice and patient audience, especially those of you who are still in the audience.
With this, we come to the end of the inaugural ceremony of the Entrepreneurship Summit 2014. We have a range of speaker sessions, panel discussions, workshops, and competitions scheduled for today and tomorrow in the lecture theatre and the lecture hall complex. Thank you.